this tutorial. Today we're just going to be building a very simple application. The application is going to be a palindrome application. Palindrome are just words that, when spelled forward and backwards, will still retain the same spelling. So we'll build an application to check for words that are palindrome, in the sense that a user is going to input a given word in the application, and the application is going to check if the word is actually a palindrome. So that being said, let's just start up with the tutorial. Alright, what I'm going to do on my desktop is to create a folder, and I will name this folder palindrome. Okay, and I will want to navigate through this folder using my command line. So I'm trying to navigate to the folder using my command line. So I'm going to cd into palindrome. Okay, what I want to do here is just create some basic files we're going to be using. So I'm going to create in my index file for HTML. I'm also going to create my CSS file, and I'll be creating my JavaScript file also. Okay, I want to open up VS Code in this folder. Okay, I have my VS Code set up and open right now, and I have all those files which I created, my app.js, my index file, and my styles file, my style sheet rather. So I'll be coding side by side as we're developing. We're seeing exactly what we're building. So I already have okay, first off, let's set up our HTML file quickly. So I'm going to be using mth abbreviation for this. I'll be very fast with this tutorial. So our title is just going to be palindrome application. Okay, I will want to link my style sheet. Also want to link our script file, our JavaScript file. Okay. Alright. What I want to do here is to create a div with a class of container, and in this div I'll be creating an h1 with the app's name palindrome app. I also want to create I just want to create an input field rather. So I'll have a placeholder in the input field. This placeholder, just coding some text here. Let me say type in a word. Okay, I also want to give this input field an ID of inputs. Okay, now I just want to create a button, and this will say check. Okay, I'll give this button a class of btn. Alright, I think okay. So in this application, we'll be more focused on getting whatever the user types into the input field. So we want to point at this input field from our JavaScript file, and also at the button tag from our JavaScript file. So I think these are the basic tags we'll be working on to build this application. So let's jump into our okay, first of all, I just have a CSS, some CSS code which I just coded earlier. So I'm just going to copy all of it and paste in here, and I'll quickly go through it. So what I have here, I have the universal selector, and there's the box size. We actually don't, okay, box sizing, border box, and padding to be set at 0 and margin to be set at 0. Also, I want the background color to be this color which we have here, and this color is going to be on the body. Also for the container, I just want my margin to be auto, the width to be set at 80%, text align to be center, and my margin top will be 50 pixels, background color to be yellow green, padding bottom 20 pixels, padding top 20 pixels. Okay, let's see how all of this look like. We're just doing a basic styling here for our index file. So I'm going to open my index file with using live server, and let's see what that looks like. Okay, this is just a basic. I'm going to have the link in the description, but you can also, when you have the code, you can also try to tweak it and tweak the code and make this look much more beautiful, because this tutorial is actually geared towards JavaScript, the functionality of the application. So that's what we'll be focused on in this tutorial. So we want to see how we get to type a word in this input field, and whenever we click on the check button, we have a kind of pop-up that tells us if the word which was input is actually a palindrome. So that being said, let's go into our JavaScript file. First of all, we would like to bring in the input field and the button into the JavaScript file. We would like to point to them in the JavaScript file. So I'm going to create a variable for the input field. I want to get whatever the user has typed into this input field box. Okay, so I'm going to call this input. So remember, in our index file, in the input field, we had an ID of input. So that's what we're pointing at. So to get that, we'll use documents dot, since it's an ID, you can leverage on get elements by ID. And what elements are we getting? We're getting the input field, which has an ID of input also. So also I want to point to the button. So I'm declaring a variable called btn. So in our index file, our attribute for the button is a class of btn, so we'll be using a different method here to call in the button into our JavaScript file. So this will be document query selector. So what are we selecting? We're selecting a button. Selecting the button which has a class of btn. So we've pointed at that using this statement here. So right now let's reiterate on what we are trying to do here in the application. We want to get whatever the user types into this input field, and check to see if what has been typed into the input field matches being a palindrome. And remember, we said palindrome are words that when spelled forward and backward still retains the same spelling, like mom, dad. These two words right here, palindrome. So we want to be able to check whenever a user types in any word here to see if it's a palindrome. Okay, so what I want to do right now is first of all, I'd like to create a function to do that checking for us. So I'd like to declare a function variable using arrow functions here. So I'll call this let's say palindrome check. So I'll be using arrow function here. When you're coding, you can also try to use regular functions, but for this tutorial I'll be using arrow function. So I want this function to return whatever has been typed into this input field in a reversed order. Okay, whatever word that has been typed into this input field, I want this function right here to be able to reverse the word and give back to me. Okay, so what do I do? So this is going to return. Now I'd like to first of all give the function a parameter. I'll call this parameter string. Okay, so this function is going to return. Now for strings, we have what we do right here is whenever the user types in a word here, the word is going to be seen as a string. So I want to be able to convert that string into an array. So there's a method we use to convert strings into an array. That method is called the split method. So this method here is going to pick up the string that is being typed into this input field and turn it into an array, change it into an array. So now changing it into an array, for instance, if I had the word say boy as a string, I had the word boy as a string, so this is going to change this into an array of B O Y. Okay, that's what this does. Okay, and now this this is a delimiter, the quotation marks, the speech marks with no space in it. So what this does is it separates each of the characters here into an array. Okay, if I had a space here, then what happens is it just separates each word instead of each character. So we'll have maybe a girl this way. For instance, if I had boy, girl. So this is what the splits method is going to do. Putting this into an array, okay, because of this space in here, but that's a delimiter, but I don't want to use that. I just want to separate just a single word in an array. So that will be boy this way. So this expression here, this split function here is going to do this for me. Okay, without the right now. So this is what I'll be getting back. Okay, I hope that explains it a bit. So after calling the split method on the string, I want to reverse, oh sorry, it's supposed to be an I, yeah? Okay, good. I would like to reverse whatever was put into the array. Say boy. What I want to do now is to reverse this to get an array of YOB. Okay, so we also have a method that does that, the reverse function. So I'm going to call the reverse function on this. Okay, so what this is doing is I'm taking up the string, I'm picking up whatever string I have here in this function, whatever string I have in this function, I'm calling the split method on it to change it into an array of boy. For instance, if it was a boy that was in the input field, okay, so I'm calling the split method on it to give me an array of boy, and I'm then calling the reverse method to give me this expression right here also now. So right now we actually don't want an array of this sort. So what do? We want back a string. So there's also a method, an array method called the join. Okay, this changes back, converts. What this does is it changes the array back to a string of YOB. Okay, so this is what this join method, this array method does, converts an array into a string. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right, so all right, we have our function set up right now. What do we want to do? We would like to be able to call this function whenever this button is clicked. So the first thing I'm going to do is to set an event listener on the button. So I'm going to set an event listener. So what event are we listening to? We're listening to the click event, and this takes in a callback function also. So now we want to click. Whenever this button is clicked, we would like to check to see if whatever the user has input in here, the reverse case is the same as the fourth case of the spelling. Okay, all right. Firstly, remember we have our input here, so we want to leverage on this right now. So I would like to get the value from here. Okay, so I'll create a variable here, constant. I'll call this value equals to like the input here, which we're pointing at the input field. So the input, then I'd like to get the value of that input. Okay, so whatever is being clicked here, this will give me the value of what is clicked, what is typed in this input field here. So this will give me the value, and I'm storing it in this variable called value right here. Okay, so I would like to check. I want to check if okay, now we have our function set up here. I would like to bring this into. So I will want to declare another variable called okay, let me call this palindrome value. So this is what I want to call here. So I'll be calling in my function here, my palindrome check, and I'll give it an argument of value. Okay, right, let me explain this a little bit. So I'm calling in my function now, my palindrome check function, and I'm passing an argument here. So this function is going to execute this, pick up whatever string that has been input in here. Remember, this is giving me the user's input, and I'm storing it in this value variable right here. So I'm passing my value variable as an argument in this palindrome check here. So I'm calling the function, and the function performs the reverse word of whatever is being typed in this input field box, and storing it in this palindrome value right here. Okay, now I want to check for these two values to see if they are equal. So I'll be using a conditional statement here, the if to be precise, the if statement. So if value is strictly equal to the palindrome value, I would like to, just to check, we'll call the alert function here. Alert palindrome. Okay. Else, if it's not a palindrome, so I also like to call the alert function, and in here I'll just say oh, sorry, not today. Okay. Alright, I think that looks good. Okay. We have our JavaScript all set up. Let's see if this works. Alright, let's go back to our application. I'll just type John check. Oh, sorry, not today. Alright, let's check for Madame. Madame is actually a palindrome. Oh, are we? We have a palindrome. Oh, was it because of the capitalization? Okay, let's check for mom. Okay, palindrome. Let's check for Madame, all capitals. Palindrome, okay. I think, okay, alright. The application is actually working, but in the next tutorial, I will want you to, check this. If you notice, if I type it this way, Madam, we are getting, oh, sorry, not today, which Madam is actually a palindrome, but reason being that we have the first character to be capitalized. Okay, so for your assignment for this tutorial, check and see how you can make this actually still give us palindrome, irrespective of the capitalization here, and we're getting this. Okay, all right. But that being said, it application is actually working, and yes, this is just a simple application. You can still refactor the code in it and make it much more to your own taste. Thank you for staying till the end of this. I really appreciate, and I'll see you in the next one.